Hello, Birgitta.
Hallo Iris.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to share your experience about your contact with your inner being.
Oh, it's a pleasure. What
So,
would you like to know?
the question is, are you in contact with your inner being or your psychic being, and how does it manifest in your life?
Well, I think so. I have a lot of inner guidance usually and visions, and I'm trying to live according to them.
And do you have specific signs that are appearing to your perceptions when you feel that you are in contact with your inner being?
Specific, yes, there is this certainty. I am sure that something is true and needs to be done. There is no mental doubt. It's a really deep inner feeling when I have a vision that I need to go for it.
So does it manifest like a voice to you?
No, usually I see images and I have feelings.
Okay.
The voice is extremely rare, but it also happens in emergency situations.
Okay. And so you're saying you are getting images and you have certainty at the same time,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And can you call these images? Can you call that situation, or does it happen whenever it wants to happen?
That is difficult to define. Usually, when I have a problem or when I'm very touched or upset or shaken up, and I go and meditate, I ask for guidance, and then usually this happens. Yeah, I guess I often have to ask for guidance.
Okay.
But when I'm in a meditative state of mind already, it can just come as well.
Okay. So sometimes it is spontaneous.
Yes.
And since when do you have that?
Well, that is a good question. I think since I was born, probably. I mean, I was always flying and traveling outside of my body when I was a child. And then I could feel so many things or perceive things which other people obviously did not. And I had a lot of trouble with this because I felt so alien. And it was getting extreme when I was a young adult and I had visions of things which are going to happen. And they always happened. And then I blocked it off for a long time because I just wanted to be normal. And when I was over 30, it came back quite massively because then I opened up for it.
Okay. So you called it when you wanted to have it back?
No, I just declared that I'm ready to learn. I did not really call it. But yeah, I was ready for it.
And did you have to develop certain skills or practices?
That not really. I think all my life I was going into solitude quite a bit when I wanted to create. And I'm most happy when I'm on my own doing something with my hands. And that is like a meditation usually. So I was preparing for it or prepared for it always. As an artist, I usually in this meditative state of mind where there's the access road open. Yeah.
Okay, so it happens naturally in your daily activities.
As well, yeah. Yeah.
And are there certain circumstances that are more conducive for the contact to be established,
What is conducive?
that make it easier?
Yes, I mean, it's impossible to hear it when I take alcohol, for example, when I'm drug myself, when I'm in stress, it's also difficult. I need to be kind of centered and quiet to perceive it.
Okay. And do you feel that you are perfectly comfortable at this point in this contact, or do you feel that you're still progressing or learning or developing this capacity to have contact?
Well, there is surely always space for a lot of improvement. And I am quite lazy. I am not really working on it consciously. Yeah, it's just happening with my work and with my way of life. So I'm really lazy. I mean, I think I could get much more in contact if I really would make a bigger effort.
And would you share with us one or some experiences that you had in this field that were particular, that were maybe spectacular or funny or interesting? Or
Well, yes. I mean, 3 years back or 2.5 years back, when this big conflict came in Auroville with the foundation, I was very shaken up by it because I felt this split and I thought this is the worst thing that could happen. And I went to the matrimandi and I was really sad and upset and yeah, and I asked, no, actually, my inner voice told me today you have to go and meditate. So I was rushing to the matrimandi and it was already time to finish there, basically. So my brain told me, it's no point going in. It's too late already. And my inner voice said, no, you have to go today. So I was running up and I was sitting down and I had such a strong vision of the galaxy manifesting on the bark of a tree. And I could see which tree in which place, and the light went on and meditation time was over. Yeah. So I went outside and I was quite excited about it. And I immediately checked on the tree and I found the galaxy exactly in that spot where I had seen it in the vision. And then I went to print it. And when I printed it and I was almost finished with it, my inner voice told me, now you work higher up. And there was Ganesha manifesting in an absolutely miraculous form, in a fractal form. I got about 6 Ganeshas and 2 Hanumans from that tree, which are fractal, which consist even in the smallest shape of elephants or monkeys. And this was one of the most beautiful contacts. And another one I had when they butchered the trees on the Crown Road. I was in a kind of a shock and crying. And in this moment, I knew I'm going to do some artwork about that, von Wunden und von Moribunden. This is German and a bit poetic. In English, it doesn't sound so good. It's about injuries and the ones condemned to die or certain to die. And I just started this project this week in the Liberation Art Camp. And I worked on the tree trunks.
and what did you do?
Well, I made a big blood red Wunde, injury, where it was cut. And I printed the bark in a kind of a black circle around, like a Trauerflor, like a mourning corona. And it's quite powerful.
Okay, and any other event that you would like to share that was interesting in that field?
Yes. When I was 19, I was in this big conflict, who is right, the existentialists or religion. And I really wanted to know. Yeah, my brain told me, of course, the existentialists are right, and something inside, probably my psychic, told, no, 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 they are wrong. So I wanted an answer which I could understand. And the answer came very drastically and dramatically. I drowned. And I had an incredible, beautiful out-of-body experience drowning in the waves. And I never knew how I was getting out of the ocean. I saw my body floating at the bottom of the sea, and then I was crawling up on the beach, and I knew the existentialists have no clue of reality. And I knew from this moment onwards with absolute certainty that we are soul beings, eternal beings.
Mm-hmm.
And since that moment, I lived wild and dangerous because I knew we are not meant to die before our time is over. And we will know, or I will know when it's the time. Yeah. So, yeah. If you're not scared of death anymore because you know you are eternal and you're a psychic being, there's nothing to fear.
Nice. Any other event?
Well, the voice thing, maybe. But yeah, it's a bit banal. But I was riding my car at New Year's Day, early morning, to visit a friend, and there was nobody on the roads and no traffic, no nothing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I was stopping in front of a red light, and it went to green. And there was one lady also waiting at the side of the road. And suddenly I heard a voice telling me, "Careful, she'll jump in the car." And she jumped in front of my car. And because I heard this voice so clearly, I avoided hitting her, but like that. And this is one of those extreme moments where I heard a voice. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say there are traps in this practice of being in contact with your inner being?
Well, it depends. I mean, I learned psychic reading in my education at some point in time because I wanted to know more about it. And of course, if you learn such a practice, it is very tricky that you don't mix your ego or your assumptions inside. But for me, it was never a problem because I could quickly define if something is real because it's coming from a different place in the body. Yeah. If you mix something personal inside, it's more coming from the mental, from imagination, from the brain. And if it's a real thing, which is coming from a higher place, it's like an inner certainty, like a feeling from the heart, like something true and natural and not logic.
Okay.
And I feel the difference usually. I also feel the difference if another person is making projections on someone or on a subject, or if it's something genuine which comes from a higher place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you say you have developed a sensitivity about where a message is coming from.
Yes.
Okay. And for you, it's in your physical body. You feel that it's coming from another part.
Well, when I was in this very curious learning situation about the invisible, I was meditating in the mornings, and usually I talked to my spirit guides when I had a question. And there is always this me, which is, I think, on the right side of my body, which is asking. And then there is a different channel, which is on the left side. Somehow it feels like that. And there is the answer coming. And the answer is sometimes in a different language, which is not my language. It's coming in poems or in wordings, which I would never use. And that is also a sign that it's true, that it's not an invention which my brain is making up, you know. But I have to write it down immediately because it's just passing and I can't remember it after.
And this language, so that would be also a voice, or would...
It is not a voice which you hear with your ears. It's like a voice which I can perceive from inside. Also, like sometimes when I want to see an entity which is not in a material form, I ask it to give me an inner picture. Yeah, and then I get a clear perception of it. But it's on an inner screen, not on an outer visual thing. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And is there anything that you would give as an advice to people who want to learn more about their inner contact?
Well, yes. When I was reading a lot when I was starting my research, and I read a lot of nonsense as well. And usually when I read the truth, there is this kind of tickling on the top of my head, and my heart feels happy and something feels right. And when it's a kind of a nonsense, there is this uneasy feeling in my body, which is coming a bit from the neck part, and it's just yuck. Yeah. And I can physically distinguish. And I think a lot of people can do that because the body is a very fine-tuned instrument to receive truth or to distinguish things. Also, when I walk through high energies, my hair is standing up like little antennas. It's a very funny phenomena. Yeah? And when I was younger and I worked in cathedrals, I thought, it's chilly here. Yeah, but I was just crossing the gold lines. And it took me a long time to interpret those signals of my body in the right way, because nobody ever told me about it. I had to find out most of it by myself.
So you would say that people should become more aware of their inner perceptions, even on a physical level?
Yes, I think our bodies, they know a lot, yeah, and they are very well tuned. If they are kind of natural, if you still have a connection to it. And but it's difficult to find out. I mean, I learned a lot of those signals because I am a very skeptical person, and when I want to know if it's really true or if my mind is making something up, then usually we went in a test with a few friends and we did the same exploration, and then we shared the feedback. And like this, all of us learned to trust in these channels, which were different for us. Yeah, but to trust in their own channel because the result was the same. To learn it all on your own is very difficult, I think.
Okay, so sharing it and comparing results is also part of the learning process for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, especially in this phase where you are really in conflict with your mental still, and you don't trust your perceptions yet.
Okay, very interesting. Is there anything that you would like to add to what you said?
No, I don't think so, not now.
No? Okay. Thank you very much. That was a very interesting sharing. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Iris.